Hear that I should go far off from my sanctuary, but turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations. And he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, Go in, and behold, the wicked abominations that they do there. So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of the creeping things, and abominable beasts, and all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall round about. And there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel, and in the midst of them stood Jazaniah, the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. Then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark? Every man the chambers of his imagery, for they say, The Lord seeth us not, the Lord hath forsaken the earth. And he said unto me, Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than that they do. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was towards the north, and behold, there sat a woman weeping for Tammuz. That's a god. That was a false god. Then said he unto me, Hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than these. And he brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, and their faces toward the east, and they worshipped the sun toward the east. Then said he unto me, Hast thou seen this, O son of man? It is a light thing to the house of Judah, that they commit the abominations which they commit here. For they have filled the land with violence, and have returned to provoke me to anger. And lo, they put the branch to their nose. Therefore will I also deal in fury. Mine eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity. And though they cry in mine ears a loud voice, yet will I not hear them. So what we see here, he said, not only was the image of jealousy there, he says, you will see greater abominations than these. So we had the spirit of jealousy that came into us, that provoked God to jealousy. So what did the spirit of jealousy do to us? What did they say? They said, the Lord has forsaken the earth. He doesn't see what we're doing in the dark. And so each one of us, the Lord will show you, we all have to deal with this place in our lives. It's not just an area, but there's a general sentiment when the spirit of jealousy enters into us that God doesn't see. God can't work in me. I've cut him off. And so when I allowed the stronghold, the abomination of jealousy, the spirit of jealousy in, I provoked God to jealousy because I've said to myself, God, I don't want you in this space. I don't want you in this space. And so if God can't work for me, what must God do? He has to work against me. He has to plow me over. That's why Jerusalem, and this really talking, this historically speaking, God is about to destroy Jerusalem. He's about to destroy Jerusalem because of the fact that they were in his temple, in his place, they were worshiping false gods. And every image represented the jealousy they had for themselves, the boundaries they had for themselves, the zeal they had for themselves, as opposed to the zeal they were supposed to have for the Lord. And so the place that was meant for God, where he was supposed to be working, was a place where they were working for themselves. And so every one of us has to look at our lives and say, Lord, am I cutting you off from doing what you want to do in me? Am I jealous for myself? Or am I jealous for you? Because if I'm jealous for myself, I provoke him to jealousy. And this is a very huge thing. And so that's why sinfulness continues in many of our lives, is because there are three levels to the spirit of jealousy, and this is three levels of effects. The evidence is there if there's sins that we continue to do. And we've talked about those sins to the Lord. But clearly there's a decision we haven't made to stop. Because there are greater abominations of these. It continues, it continues, it continues. The spirit of jealousy is there. We're still jealous for ourselves. And that's a place where we're saying, God, ultimately, in us, you don't see what we're doing. You've forsaken us. This is my boundary. Turn your Bibles. Next, as I told you, Terry, we will get here. Turn your Bibles to Hebrews chapter 4. So we see that when the spirit of jealousy is there, we don't want, we can talk God, we can act, we can be at the temple and be worshiping false gods. In Hebrews chapter 4, it's talking about something we all need to be aware of. So let's read, and we're going to read to verse 13. It says, "Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word